Joining me today, Claire Pearsall, former Conservative Government Advisor. Morning to you.
Morning.
Lovely to see you. I mean, two stories related, well, three really. We've got this speech by the Defence Secretary, we've got a report by the Defence Committee, a review saying Britain's not ready to defend itself, and we've got a warning from MI5 that China is targeting MPs with large financial incentives. You work in the House of Parliament.
Yes.
And so you received this email warning you. I mean, where do you stand on all of this?
Does it surprise anybody that China is a threat? And I think we've known this for some time.
Apparently to the government, because that's why that China spy trial collapsed.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Speaker of the House of Commons is still absolutely spitting feathers that those two people have been able to get off, and the government seems to shrug its shoulders. But they have always been a risk. The Chinese Communist Party has always been a risk to the United Kingdom. It's unsurprising.
A murderous, undemocratic, tyrannical regime that enslaves millions of Uyghurs, kills prisoners for their organs, makes blatant threats to Taiwan and neighbouring, independent nation state. I mean, I think there are clues. I think there are clues.
Not really soft and fluffy, are they? You don't want to be friends with them. And
we want to trade with them. Want their money.
This is your problem, and in order to have the trade and the money from them, they want certain things in return. This is how it works, and they wanted access to provide security systems in very sensitive locations in the United Kingdom. I wonder why. That's not just being nice.
We want to be involved in our energy and our 5G network, and previous governments gone, this is proper. We should definitely do that.
Critical infrastructure that they want to stick their nose in. But the email was hysterical.
But why has MI5 issued that email now? So you say hysterical. Well, I mean, really? An email from the MI5 was hysterical?
It came with an attachment which was a handy sort of cut out and keep guide as to why these things are bad. And it was all the things that you could be offered. An all expenses paid trip to China. Most people, out of the blue, if they were offered an all expenses paid trip to China, would probably go, why?
Oh, Keir would take it.
Probably some clothes.
I mean, you get Lord Ali to sort the suits. Yeah.
But it was quite interesting that they have to lay it out in very simple terms that MPs and staff will understand. Are we really that stupid? And I think the answer to that is obviously yes, we are. I haven't sadly been approached by any Chinese spies. They've not come to me, as far as I am aware anyway. But I think if they'd used the phrase reaching out in their email, it would have been deleted automatically, because I hate that.
There is that. But we know that it has worked in the past. And,
yes,
we know when we get people who just do sting operations from newspapers, from lobbying firms, that an awful lot of MPs and their assistants will literally lap it all up in return for sort of a night in a posh hotel. So goodness knows what they can offer. Can I just say some breaking news from the Defence Secretary, John Healey? He's opened his speech in Downing Street today on defence, saying a Russian spy ship, the Yantar, is on the edge of UK waters north of Scotland, having entered the UK's wider waters over the last few weeks. This is a vessel designed for gathering intelligence and mapping our undersea cables. Now, we know Russia has been doing a lot of that. We deployed a Royal Navy frigate and RAF planes to monitor and track this vessel's every move, during which the Yantar directed lasers at our pilots. That Russian action is deeply dangerous, and this is the second time this year that this ship, the Yantar, has deployed to UK waters. So my message to Russia and to Putin is this: we see you, we know what you're doing, and if the Yantar travels south this week, we are ready. I'm sorry, John Healey, that is literally the most weak, limpest wristed nonsense I've ever heard. Are they allowed in UK waters without our permission? If not, I mean, are they, aren't they? Can someone find out?
Yeah,
I don't know my rules on this, but if they... I'm sorry, them shining lasers into the pilots, the RAF pilots, that is an act, that is a hostile act.
Yes.
I would say an act of war. Why are we allowing them in our waters to monitor our cables? Why are we also, by the way, these aren't just, telecommunications cables. A lot of these cables, and internet cables and things. These are also often, pipelines and things, getting gas and oil from Norway and things like that. Guys, we are literally sleepwalking into not being able to defend either ourselves or our key allies in NATO. We've been here before. It was roughly, give or take, 100 years ago. We were here before. We know the playbook. OK, it was Hitler last time, Putin this time. he has his sights set on Eastern Europe, and it ain't going to end there. I do not understand this. Now, someone's just clarified for me, no Russian ships are not allowed in UK waters without the UK's permission. There's specific regulations to prevent them from entering UK ports as well. So if they're not allowed in the waters, why are we monitoring them and going, oh, I wonder what you're doing? You know, a message to the Russian embassy that day, get your ships out of our waters by close of play today, or we're going to bomb them out. That is the only language that Putin understands. Now, people will go, oh, you're a warmonger. No, Putin's a warmonger. And we have seen when a Russian plane went into Turkish territory from Syria and the Turks just went, shot it down. Don't do that again, they said. And do you know what? The Russians didn't. Exactly. Russians have been going into some of the Baltic states, and everyone goes, oh, what should we do? Some drones. Oh, what should we do? No, you know what to do. You know how to deal with this man. He is testing us, and we are failing that test every minute, every hour, every day, every month, and every year.
Yeah, absolutely
madness. Right. Madness. And everyone thinks that John Healey's a future leader. Madness.
Turkey took precisely 12 minutes between issuing their warning and then shooting it down. So they're not messing around. And we've just asked them nicely if they wouldn't mind reversing their ship back a bit and getting out of our waters. If they're pointing laser pens
we haven't even told them to get out. We know what you're doing. Oh, no, if you travel south, then we're ready. Ready for what? What, ready with tea and biscuits?
How far south?
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Genuinely, guys, we are not safe, and the people in charge. I mean, like, the Tories were just as bad for years. Everyone thought the Cold War dividend, that was it, the end of history. Pay attention. The people who know, the military people who know, the ones who are most fearful of war, because they've seen it with their own eyes, felt it with their own bodies. They know. There is no one who knows anything about geopolitics and war and strategic thinking who doesn't think we are facing a threat and doesn't think that we are able to fight it. We are not able to defend our allies, and crucially, we are not able to defend ourselves. Listen to this. This report says we're failing to meet our NATO Article 3 defence obligations to maintain and develop individual and collective capacity to resist armed attack. We have next to nothing when it comes to, that's their words, next to nothing when it comes to integrated air and missile defence. We lack a plan for defending the homeland and our overseas territories, and MPs mustn't bury their head in the sand. I mean, I don't know how much clearer they can be in black and white.
And it also, I think probably the other thing that they haven't necessarily looked at in detail are the amount of people leaving the armed forces. So it's all very well, we don't have the equipment.
And
but
you come from a military family.
I do, and up until June 31st of this year, 14,000 people had left the armed forces. 14,000. So there are more leaving than there are joining. There was a big deficit in that. And you've got to look at why. What are we doing to encourage people to stay? What are we doing to make that life...
The pay is pitiful.
The pay is pitiful. They have had a pay increase, but it's still not enough. If you're asking people to put their lives on the line for your country, then you should reward them for that. Yeah,
I just don't think most people would think that would be an issue. It's amazing how often also you see, charities collecting, for homeless veterans, for help for heroes. There shouldn't be a single charity that needs to do that. No, that should just be, I'm sure our taxes should pay for that. Well, look, that ties in with, does it not? Because again, if you don't spend on this, what are you spending the money on? Like, should our taxes rise? Guys, when there's a war, our taxes will rise to pay for all this, and it's going to cost a heck of a lot more in the event of war. We're going to end up paying for it anyway. This is like you've got a drip in the roof and you think, oh, just ignore it. You're going to end up replacing your whole roof. It's going to cost you tens of thousands of pounds as opposed to maybe 800 quid to do with the leak. I'm just saying we are really, really failing on this front. But we are spending money on other things. The extra £6 billion is going to be spent on benefits in the budget. The government couldn't get through a measly £5 billion in welfare cuts. Now, they weren't quite the right welfare cuts because it was cutting the amount of money people on disability benefits gets. Whereas actually, I would like people on disability benefits who really need them to get more. I just want fewer people who, by definition, don't need them to get those benefits. And we've talked ad nauseum on this show about a lot of the people who are on this. But we're going to be spending an extra £6 billion in their benefits because the amount paid in working age benefits is going to rise by 3.8% from next April. Now, if you're on benefits or on minimum wage, or highly paid, either way, inflation goes up. The poorer you are, the more the inflation hits you because you have to spend money on the necessities.
Yes.
And inflation, as we know, it's fallen to 3.6%, but last month was 3.8%, and that's the measure that's used for benefits, for pensions, for everything else. I mean, people on benefits are going to need to see a rise to keep pace with able to spend, on buying food, paying for energy. But it's the fact that we've got an extra million people on out-of-work benefits in the last year. Yeah. I mean, it's just who don't have no requirement to actually even look for a job. That's where your problem is.
Well, of course it is. And everybody else who is sitting there thinking, well, I'm not going to get an increase in my wage next April, that's not coming, but my costs are enormous, and I get up at 6 in the morning and I go and do a day's work, and they're going to be looking at this and saying, well, how is this fair for me? Labour set themselves out to be the party of the working person, and more, they're looking like they're the party of the shirkers. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. I don't have a problem with somebody who desperately needs help, if they have illness, disability, whatever, getting that help. Absolutely no problem with that.
We want to be able to target that help to the people who really need it. And we've said that so many times on this show. People go, oh, I've got a disability. No, we're not talking about you. We want to help you.
Yeah,
we should be proud to pay taxes to help you, you know?
We all know who we're talking about. Everybody will know somebody.
This is the thing. When I get people from the left who go, no, people aren't all swinging the lead. And again, you talk to anyone. We had somebody called in from a benefits, works in a benefits counter. One of my best friends has done that for the last 20, 30 years. And says, I mean, you literally have people coming in saying, I work, they can't work more than part-time, they can't get a job full-time. Hello, I've been working 2 days a week to make sure I get my housing benefit and all my other benefits. I'll do my 2 days a week. My boss wants me to work 5 days a week. Can you tell me how much better off or worse off I'll be? And she has to do the numbers, and she goes, well, actually, you'll be about a tenner better off, but you'll lose this, that and that. You're not eligible if you're working full-time. And then, completely normal. This has happened, dozens and dozens of times. They'll go, well, I won't bother then. I'll say I can't do it. Because why would I work 3 days a week more if I'm a tenner better off? It's worth my time. And you just think, but they're able to make that decision, whereas actually they should be reported immediately for taking off all their benefits and go and get a full-time job.
But I thought
that's what should happen.
Yeah, and I thought that was what was supposed to happen if you turn down the opportunity to go to work, because it's not just about the money. Yes, all right, money. We all need to have that. It isn't just about that, it's all the other benefits.
Certainly, if I come revolution when I'm in charge, you're under 25s, seriously, under 25, there are no benefits for you. You are going to be required at 8 a.m. to be in your jumpsuit, and you're going to be cleaning up litter, cleaning graffiti.
8 o'clock?
I'm going to be generous. They're all on their Xboxes. They've got no money, but they're all on their Xboxes till 3 a.m. No, but 8 a.m. you're going to be there. And if you're late, even once, you don't get paid. Because that's how life works in real life, That's how life works. I'm not late for my show. People go, well, it's all right for you, you're paid well. No, do you think there were many years when I was late and then it just happened? I mean, everyone listening now, everyone watching now who's done well in life, who's worked, or just kept a good, solid job and, been a reliable employee, it's because you just do it it's the everyday bit.
Yes.
It's like parenting. It's being there every day.
It is.
It's part of the deal. Yeah. OK, all right, I don't work Fridays. I took the pay cut. Guys, I took the 20% pay cut. That was the deal. But no, this is the thing. It is extreme. But I genuinely, I would not have any young person allowed to be out of work. You are going to turn up every single day, and you are going to be doing something useful. And then we're going to put you making applications, and you're going to do that. I think they'll all find jobs quite quickly.
But of course they will. I mean, it isn't difficult. But they won't be able to find jobs easily if Labour continue taxing employers.
No. Well, here's the other thing.
Then we've got a problem.
Here's the other thing. Will there be any jobs at all? I mean, no, the taxing on employers, and God knows what we're going to see in the budget. It's a week away now. These extraordinary figures for the Office for National Statistics, who had predicted that in the calendar year of 2024, 77,000 Brits had left the UK.
Yeah.
77, which is too many, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll be people retiring, but like I say, we were talking yesterday, there's weird sort of duck-faced influencers heading off to Dubai. Have a great life. And with their free handbags, but also an awful lot of entrepreneurs, young people want to get ahead. People who can't afford to buy a home here, but can buy a home somewhere in Europe. Or, but it wasn't 77,000. It was more than 3 times that. It was 257,000. More than 250,000 of people in this country with enough get up and go to get up and go have left. Now, that is terrifying. We're going to lose our brightest and our best. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm terrified that my daughter and your son are going to be among the people who go, do you know what? I'm not wanted here. I'm not valued here. I'm shipping out.
And I don't blame them. And my son has already said that to me. Where can I work? And I said, well, clearly
I'll be rewarded for it.
Yeah, you can work wherever you like. And he's now looking at places like Dubai. He's also looking at Australia, New Zealand. Doesn't matter how far away it is. He's looking at the quality of life that he can have, how much he's going to work, how much he's going to have in his pocket, and is it worth staying put?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly it is, because I'm here, but I wouldn't hold him back. But it is frightening that we are going to lose so many good people because we can't look after them.
Here's what people might also lose if we do see the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood actually deliver, get to an Act of Parliament and actually change some of the asylum rules. We talked about those an awful lot this week. Getting rid of failed asylum seekers. Lots of outcry from the usual hand-wringers about how children will also, families will also be included. Now, the focus has been on, foreign criminals, single men, which is who largely are coming across on the boats, but we also know there are some families, particularly families who come here. Again, those people who put their children on that boat from a safe country in France should be, frankly, should be imprisoned for... if you and I did that on a nice day out in the Channel, we'd be prosecuted, and quite rightly. But children born in the UK... So people got this mad idea that they're like in America, you're now British. No, you don't have automatic, you're not British citizen because you're born here, okay? You have to have British citizenship because you have British citizenship. It's different. So if your parents are from abroad and are foreign citizenship and they have you here, that makes them the nationality of the people they came with. So they're saying that there's outcry that children born in the UK to refugees will be deported. Now, this is to stop there being an incentive to basically, knock someone up. We know some refugees, illegal migrants have used this as a way to not be deported, the right to a family life under Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights. But what are they saying? Do they want the kids to be left here on their own without the parents? Or are they saying that if someone's got a kid, we can't deport them? I think
that's what they're saying. They don't want them to go. Right. There are so many problems with this because so many people believe that we have birthright citizenship in this country, which we don't. We don't have that. And you're right, if a child is born here to foreign parents, then the citizenship is conferred by the mother. So it's whatever citizenship the mother is what the child is. It shouldn't stop us deporting those who have no right to remain just because they have children. I think there becomes a problem when you're looking at detaining individuals because nobody really wants to detain children. We don't want to lock them up. If we speeded
everything up so they weren't detained for a year and it was just 3 days and we sort the flight out,
then that's not a problem. And I think people look at what President Trump did in America, where there were children being detained in prison-style camps. We don't want to see that.
By the way, Obama also did this.
Yeah, he did.
But no one complained about it.
No, I still pointed that out because it is appalling. I wouldn't like to see that for the children. It isn't their fault. But it doesn't mean that they get the right to stay here. And I think that we need to be very firm on this.
Let's talk about Trump, since you mentioned him. The US Senate, the Congress has approved releasing Epstein. The Senate is going to approve today. And we've got, of course, Donald Trump promising to sign this bill to release the Epstein files in full, except he could just sign an executive order and they could have been released already. This has become quite a big issue for him, hasn't it?
And I think he's made it a big issue by sort of denying all knowledge of things and not making a decision on it. And of course, people will sense a weakness and they'll go after it.
And he promised in opposition he would release the files.
He did.
And he says he's got nothing to fear. I think he probably doesn't, weirdly.
I don't think so. I think his attitude is quite interesting. He's just like, yeah, fine, whatever. And if he was a man with something to hide, I think he'd be a little bit more...
Except why wouldn't you publish them? Well, my guess is the security authorities don't want them. There's obviously a lot of stuff that is in there that people don't want.
And who else is named in it? I mean, it's quite interesting. But I should imagine whatever comes out, I think there's going to be some heavy redactions. I don't think we're going to see...
Yeah, that is true. And what did you make of this press conference with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who's a murderer, by the way? Just to clarify, he's a murderer, defending him as a question from a journalist who he also called, he said, piggy. When Air Force One said an ABC journalist said quiet piggy to her. I mean, Chris, extraordinary. You're a terrible journalist. She was attacking her for embarrassing his guest in the White House by asking the Crown Prince about the 2018 murder of Jamal Khashoggi, a Washington Post journalist, and a journalist working for an American newspaper. And by all accounts, certainly the CIA very clear. He ordered it and certainly knew about it, but definitely ordered it. There have been some reports that he actually listened to him being tortured in the Saudi embassy in Istanbul while he was being tortured. And then he was murdered and then his body dismembered. I mean, sorry, absolutely guilty of sin. I'm sorry. But Donald Trump basically defending it on the basis, well, he was a controversial guy. I'm sorry. I mean, have I been controversial enough to deserve to be murdered and dismembered? I don't know.
I think we all need to be a little bit concerned. I didn't quite believe what I was watching. Yeah. With Trump laying out the red carpet for somebody whose regime is so dictatorial and so
out of
control. Yes, they are, but it shouldn't take your morals away from you, should it?
Well, it does in Britain as well. We roll out the red carpet for the Saudis as well. We absolutely do. There's lots more I want to talk about. We've got top guests coming on in the next hour. We've got Michael Gove, the former cabinet minister. He's now editor of The Spectator. Lord Gove, as he is now. We're also going to be talking a little bit later in the show to the wonderful Sharon Davies about, well, she's starting up a women's sports union to tackle all those sports bodies that are still, despite the Supreme Court, allowing men, calling themselves women, but men in women's sport. Also going to talk to the former Security Minister, Tom Tugendhat, about the state of play with Russia and indeed with China. It's all coming up. Your call's up next, though, particularly on the defence threat. Give us a call, 0344 499 1000. This is Talk.